Hello everyone, Chad back from Kinetics with another at-home or travel workout. So we'll go through our prep, sweat, and breathe section today, demonstrating each of the movements. Remember, if you have access to some equipment, we'll talk about ways that you can load some of these movements up, but they are meant to be done body weight alone, so you don't necessarily need that stuff, but if you do have access, it's something that you can utilize for sure. The one thing that you will need is something to sit your butt back to for our Sumo Box squats. So whether that's just a couch or a chair, or if you have access to a plyo box or bench or something along those lines. So let's get started. Our prep section is 3 to 4 sets of 1 minute of a multi-pattern squat, followed by 5 to 7 reps of a quadruped push-up plus shoulder taps. And then the last movement, 10 to 12 reps of a dead bug. So that multi-pattern squat, as a reminder, you're just moving for a minute. Every single rep, I want you to change foot position slightly. So I may think of my home base and my first rep as just a regular air squat. And that's something I can always come back to if I start to feel a little bit stuck. So I'm going to squat. I might step back into a lunge, go out into a wide sumo squat, bring my feet in, narrow, step out to a lateral lunge, forward lunge on the other leg, lateral lunge on this leg, okay? But you notice each rep I changed position. So we're not looking for these to be fast, right? We want them to be smooth, controlled, quality reps, but we're being a little bit creative here and we're changing those repetitions every single time. All right, after that minute, we have 5 to 7 reps of a quadruped push-up plus a shoulder tap. So when we do those, we're going to get in our quadruped position. And this is actually going to shift our weight forward a little bit on the push-up. So I'm going to come down, touch my knees. So my knees tap the floor. That gives me a nice kind of reference point where I stop. I'm going to come down into that push-up, up, shoulder tap, shoulder tap. That's 1 rep. So we'll go through that 5 to 7 times. On the shoulder tap, it's 1 each side under control. We want to make sure that we're limiting how much rocking back and forth or rotation in the torso that we have there. Last movement, 10 to 12 dead bugs. So I'm going to get onto my back in that supine position. Lift my legs up so I'm about 90 degrees at the hip and knee. Arms are reaching towards the ceiling. And I'm extending opposite hand and opposite leg, nice and slow and controlled. And right back up. Alternating sides here. The whole time, brace through my belly, pressing my low back into the floor. So you have 10 to 12 total reps. We're alternating what side is working each rep. Once we finish 3 to 4 sets there, we're moving on to our sweat piece. So our sweat piece today, you're going to be working for 15 minutes, 2 minutes of work, followed by 1 minute of rest. Okay, so we have 3 movements. We're going to go through those 3 movements over and over again during that 2 minute of work, that work interval. Then you'll take a breather, grab some water, okay, catch your breath a little bit for a minute, come back and repeat. Okay, we'll end up going through this 5 times, 5 total cycles. I want you guys to approach this as trying to keep the volume of work completed in your 2 minute interval as close to the same as possible for all 5 sets. And what that means is you can't come out of the gate a million miles an hour, right? You gotta be a little bit conservative, a little bit steady. Think about like a 5K pace that you would take versus running a 100-meter sprint, right? If you tried to run that 5K at the 100-meter sprint pace, you're not gonna make it the whole time, right? So I want you guys to make this challenging, but something that you can sustain round after round, if that makes sense, okay? The movements we have today, push-ups, lemon squeezes, and sumo box squat. So for our push-ups, always keep in mind, you can elevate the hands if you need to modify this. We've talked about this in some other, in some classes, that going to a kneeling position is okay if you absolutely have to, but I wanna make sure that we maintain a nice straight line from the back of our neck down to the point of contact with the floor. In this case would be the knees if you're dropping the knees. We don't love kneeling push-ups as a variation because a lot of times people don't put themselves in a good spot. And it's hard to build that up to a regular push-up. So I'd rather see you elevate your hands a little bit, but you can certainly use that kneeling substitution if you need to. Then our lemon squeezes, our sumo box squats, you will need something to squat to. If you have a band or a dumbbell or a kettlebell, you can certainly use that to load this movement up. So let's get started. Our push-ups. We are a traveling plank, okay? Nice and controlled, pressing all the way up to the top. Okay, I'm not sticking my butt up. I'm not letting my back sag down. If I need to go to my knees, okay, again, I'm making sure I'm gonna squeeze my butt here so I stay in a nice straight line from my shoulders down to my knees, and I'm traveling in that solid plank position, right? I don't wanna stick my butt back each rep or anything like that. The other option, of course, elevate your hands. Same rules apply. The movement shouldn't look any different if my hands are on the floor versus if they're elevated. It's still that nice solid plank position that just moves. Okay? Lemon squeezes. Supine position here. Two options I'm going to give you. One is going to be to fully extend, come up, pull yourself into that crunched up position. The other one is to keep your hands at your side. Okay? And the same idea, we're drawing the knees in towards the chest, balancing up on your hips or your butt. 4 to 6 repetitions there, nice and smooth and controlled, right? They don't have to be super slow, but smooth and controlled. From that point, we'll go to our sumo box squat. So I mentioned before, if you wanted, you could add a band or a kettlebell. If I'm using the band, I'm gonna step into it, up around the neck, and from here, I'm going to hinge back into my box squat. Okay, when I perform these, notice in the bottom, my shins are vertical. I don't want to see a lot of forward travel, if any, out of the knees. So you're really reaching your hips back to get to that box, pushing through the heels, and squeezing your butt at the top. Okay, this should not look or feel the same as an air squat, where my knees are going to travel forward a little bit as I squat. I want everything to be kind of like we're marrying a hinge and a squat, right? So I'm going to push my hips back as I squat, okay? And I have that little target to help me. If you have a kettlebell, you can get it into a goblet position. You can load it unilaterally, okay? Just make sure you balance that out. If you do 4 reps with the weight in your right side, do 4 with the weight on your left. Okay, the last thing with the bands, if you're looking to add some tension for the push-ups, okay, you can take this band, twist one end so it's kind of crisscross, and then put it on like a backpack, and it can kind of stay right there on your back for these, like as you're going through the rest of the workout. But you'll notice it should be crossed like an X on my back, and then I have it here at my chest. So if I want to add some band tension to my push-ups, all I need to do is put my hands in, and now I've got that band tension to add a little bit of additional challenge to that, and I can just keep it right in that position so I don't have to fumble with getting it on and off, right? Just an option that you can throw in there if you have access to bands and if push-ups are pretty easy for you. Last movement we have is 5 minutes in our breath work, 5 minutes in a static back position. So I have my box right here, perfect for demo. I'm going to lay down, 90 degrees at the hips and knees, big belly breath in and out, eyes are closed. I'm working to control my breath. I'm working to bring that heart rate down and start to recover post-workout. Okay, do not skip the breathe section. Make sure that you include that. I like to extend it by 5, maybe 10 additional minutes and just integrate some meditation or mindfulness during that. You don't have to, but I recommend giving that a shot. At a minimum, get your 5 minutes of breath work in, start to get into that recovery mode, and give yourself those few moments of peace. All right? Enjoy the workout, and we'll see you next time.